What made you lose respect for someone? I'm still in school, and particularly when I was younger, there was this kid. I thought he was nice. He used to have the violin lesson before me when we were in primary school. So, naturally, when we were put in the same class, we were pretty friendly. But he started bugging me about being really short, and being a geek. I've always liked programming and reading, and took exams early. As well as that, he was really transphobic, and against non-binary, and thought that vaccines cause autism. I'm autistic and agender, and he was why I wasn't out. He also spread loads of horrible rumors, and plagiarized my work and took credit for it. The teacher didn't see my original piece usually. He pretty much shut up though after this revenge. One time we was spreading rumors and giving me trouble for being small. When he turned around, I suddenly caught him off guard and got out my compass and stabbed him as hard as I could in the back. There was a scar for months and I felt no remorse, just happiness. I really lost respect for him when he became transphobic and thought that fucking vaccines cause autism. TLDR. Stabbed horrible piece of crap with a compass. It was awesome piece of. This one girl from school who tried to make others look bad for hanging out with the boys when the whole time she had a boyfriend up her sleeve who she claimed isn't my boyfriend, he's just my best friend 'cause girls suck. P.S. I went to an all-girls school and the boys one was just around the corner. Couple years ago, I used to be friends with this girl I liked, and we never went out as friends before, so I picking her up to go into town, and she didn't like my choice in music. To elaborate, it was acid jazz from Persona 5, for example, like Rivers in the Desert. She had a preference for rap. My old car used to take only CDs or radio and I'd regularly burn songs that I liked to listen, 13 to 15 max, and it severely limited my music choice. Whereas in my current car I can now hook up my phone via Bluetooth and play back all my songs. While we were sitting in my car, she hears a song she doesn't like and proceeds to manually change the stereo to the radio. Look, imperfectly accepting bloke, and I would not object to changing the stereo to anything she'd prefer 100%, but the fact that she changed the stereo in my car without asking if she could change the music is really disrespectful. They've been fundraising for a very expensive experimental medical treatment in a different country. I found out they're refusing to take any of the treatments their specialist here said they should, which have a much higher percentage rate of working. We also found out that they've vacationed more in one season than my family can in a year. We've given hundreds. A good friend of mine slept with my ex the day she broke up with me. Anytime I found out they cheated on their partner, instantly loss of respect for anyone. I released my first novel on Amazon just over a year ago. It is a high fantasy work with a very purposefully dark-looking cover. I was really proud and still am. However, my uncle, who is very religious, Christian, called it an abomination and went on this spiel about how I'm the tail of the family after years and years of telling me to be the head and not the tail. I'll never look at him the same way. Fortnite is the key to hate. Had a close work friend that I spent several years closely working with. We were all married, but he not only got a girl pregnant, the girl told him she didn't need anything from him and he straight left her son behind in a city 4 hours away. I could never leave my kid behind, even if it blew up my entire life. My child would come before the marriage I apparently didn't take serious in the first place. Saw him around after I stopped working there but never looked at him the same after that. I worked at a kindergarten in Austria as an English assistant and my boss was always asking me to stay later. Can you do this? Can you do that? And I would always say yes, no problem. Her youngest son was born with a lot of problems, so she was always needing some sort of help. My son had to start going to extra school lessons for his motor skills, and when I asked to leave an hour early to take him, it was an emphatic no. Not a let's see what we can work out or let's try and make this work. Ended up swapping shift with a co-worker. So I stopped going out of my way to help. If there isn't a mutual respect of each other's circumstance, then GTFO. That place was the type of place that preached we're like a family here, so when I had to go for an operation I was sacked lol. Sexual harassment, physical violence, emotional detachment and abuse. Stupidity comes in different forms: extreme negligence to the point of hurting other people, trying to force a political/religious opinion on people and going as far as threatening them, sexism, and condoning it, racism, homophobia, transphobia, megalomania and delusions of grandeur/extreme narcissism, cultists in general, doubting science for the sake of conspiracy theories, banding with others to kick people for popularity points, refusing to listen and not giving anyone a chance to explain, prejudice, inability to have a conversation, gaslighting and accusing people of doing things they didn't do, wearing other people's innocence as a cloak to mask one's abusive behavior and shield oneself from being called out on their bullshit. That's especially infuriating when an abusive person plays victim or tries to villainize a victim so that they can get away with some seriously messed up shit, derailing a subject. Classic cowardly move, when confronted with abuse/wrongdoing so that the culprit doesn't have to admit to it, attempting to guilt trip someone if they don't agree with you or don't do the same things you do. This entails manipulation as well, like saying you should do drugs and if you don't then something is wrong with you, gloating, shaming, stalking, doxing and all of the really morally compromised crap that people usually get away with, cheating, lying for personal benefits or straight up scams. This is how you find out that someone isn't really your friend: cruelty and zero tolerance attitudes, bullying. And I'd like to mention stupidity/ignorance again because it's very special, and very commonly encountered. And yes, I've met people who exhibited all of those traits, most times a combination of them. Being rude to waiters/waitresses. Acted like they were better than them. My platonic girlfriend's little brother. I know sounds weird, right? So essentially this kid who me and others his age, literally a year younger than me, play Minecraft quite a lot, but this kid has anger issues. I mean so do I, but his is way worse. So this kid would say how he hits his other brother. I still don't know what to do about that. The kid makes your mom jokes. And they aren't funny, the jokes are offensive, but sure, I played it off as I didn't know what to do still. But a few days ago I started up a Discord server for my SMP. I kicked him from the Discord server because I didn't want him on it. It eventually turned into an argument which was a turn for the worst. I didn't want to seem like the bad guy, so I asked people of Reddit what to do. They all said ban him. I kicked him again instead to give him another chance. He cussed me out. I'm still mad at him about that. And that's just what happened leading up to what I'm about to say. I eventually banned him after talking to other members of the server, which led him to calling me a WHE and SLT and a manipulative B word. After like an hour he up and called me and one other person the gay slur. His defense? That because he was gay he was allowed to say it. Me and two others called him to confront him about it and he just played it off like all of it was a joke to him. I lost all respect in that kid that day. Not a detailed story, but a friend of mine in Illinois who was a childhood friend and me and him would spend a lot of time together. We also made a promise as kids to never ever disrespect each other's interests or others. Later in middle school he became a big bully and discriminate different people for their likes and interests, and me and him never spoke again. My friend from like 5th or 6th grade started acting like a popular guy, which he wasn't, when we went to high school, and started ignoring me since I wasn't a popular guy as I was in our primary. So he decided to start ignoring me and hang around with other kids. Few months passed by, I started hanging around with everyone a bit, but then he noticed that I was getting popular and started talking to me again. I was like, alright, why not? Another few months passed, he starts ignoring me again, like I would call him to play some video games and he would just say something like, no, I can play with whoever I want. I was like, alright then, do what you want. Surprisingly, second year of high school he wanted to hang out with me again. I was like, now you hang around with whoever you want. We never spoke again. TLDR, guy only wanted to hang out with me because of my popularity. I had two friends, one of them was going through a bit of a tough time, so I would help her through the shit she was going through. My other friend didn't really like this, or that we were quite close, so decided to message me asking how she was. We both trusted him, so we agreed it was okay for him to help as well. I thought he was being completely innocent, just checking on a friend. Instead, he was telling the people who were bullying my friend that I was helping her and that she seemed to be getting better. This went on for about 2 months without our knowledge. We ended up finding out when he just came out and said, "Yeah, I just thought the bully should know that I was trying to help her." Neither of us have spoken to him in about 3 years. Lies. Learning they are a Trump supporter. Respect meter instantly moves into the negatives.